Alright, folks, this is Rebel Rousing Rich Bergeron.
It is the Tornado Tony Panicow.
And Psychic Tom Padgett's not with us this week. He's, I guess he's busy doing a reading or something. We'll figure it out later. He might check in. Yeah, I guess it wasn't in the cards for him to be with us tonight.
Well, like I said, on Wednesday I realized I'm like, shit, I got Thursday night, and then I got, the Eagles home opener. People wanted me to go to that game, and I'm like, I gotta really work, and if I could take maybe a nip day. But then I'm like, oh, then shit, then what would happen? And there was no way I'd be able to come in today, and I really get shit. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna watch it.
You have reached the maximum time permitted for recording your message. If you're satisfied with the message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2. To erase and re-record, press 3.
Whoops.
Wow.
I guess.
If you're satisfied with the message, press 1. To listen to your message, press 2. To erase and re-record, press 3.
Hold on. Alright, let's try this again.
Been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Tony.
Tornado. Yep, I'm here.
Alright. So we get Tom off. Alright. Let's get going then. Alright. First story I got here. Premier Boxing Champions has a new deal with Fox, 21st Century Fox. Apparently, I guess the plan is that Fox is going to become mostly sports now, in addition to Fox News Channel. So they're getting rid of all the other Fox stuff. They're selling it off to Disney, I think. So this is huge for them to lock up this deal with Premier Boxing Champions, because number one, it proves Al Heyman's plan is working, which I really didn't think it would. It's just threw $450 million out there to get this thing started, and now it's released to people believe in boxing again, because this kind of deals didn't used to happen like this. They're giving him an annual budget of $60 million, and that's on top of what he already got from Showtime, another $60 million. But yeah, they're going to be selling most of their programming to Disney, but they're keeping Fox and FS1. Premier Boxing Champions will be on. So we'll see what happens, but definitely a positive situation for Premier Boxing Champions. And Showtime, obviously, has done a lot of co-promotion with them, and Fox not so much, but obviously if they're doing more sports, this is one thing that's going to be available for them. So why not? And they're also doing another season of The Ultimate Fighter. I have not watched it yet, but I just saw on SureDog that they've got already 2 episodes, so Fox is somehow keeping that going, even though the ESPN deal got made for the fights broadcasting. Now here's a great story, MMA related, but you could probably relate. You ever, I know you don't have a brother, but you ever gone out drunk and knocked somebody out by accident, like one of your friends?
Knocked somebody out?
Yeah.
I've been in drunk fights. I don't know if so then we mess around and go to punch you and actually drop the person, because if I did it, I probably meant to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Michael Bisping, he's retired from MMA, but he still does the commentary and everything like that. So he was out with his co-analyst, another MMA fighter, Dominic Cruz, and they got into some drinking adventures. And so Dominic Cruz was there when Bisping was getting rowdy, and then his brother comes out of nowhere, and this is according to Michael Bisping's official podcast. And he says, Bisping, stop it. You're going to get us in trouble. And then Bisping just sleeps his brother in the middle of the club, just lays him out. And this is Dominic Cruz talking. He says, oh my God, that could have been me. Thank God I talked a little bit of sense to him, because at first when he was yelling to me, I was like, go ahead, Bisping, if you want to do this, we can do this right now. I was like, we can do this, but I promise you're going to swing, you're going to miss, we're in a small place, you can't see very well, I'm going to hit you 10 times before you even hit me once. So they didn't go toe to toe, but yeah, he just knocked his brother right out in the middle of the floor. One of the crazy stories of the week.
I mean, shit happens, you know?
I guess. The UFC, sold for $4 billion a couple years ago now. Now Abu Dhabi is getting out. They had a 10% interest. That was, I think, inked right around the time of the Pride deal, when the UFC bought Pride out. But, Abu Dhabi's government, it's called Flash Entertainment, was their investment arm. And they had 10% stake, and they've been bought out by the new company that owns the rest of it now. They estimated between 150 and 200 million is what they got their stake for, 10%. So what's 10% of $4 billion? That's
a lot more than I make in a year.
Yeah. So they Endeavor, the agency that owns the whole UFC now, they got an extra $1.1 billion in 2017 to buy out all the remaining minority partners, including Flash Entertainment. So they sat on it for 10 years. It says here, so that would have been 2008. And we picked it up there. So right around the time that whole Pride deal was going down. Back when I was full-time investigative reporter. Going after Zions. Anyway, they did get some benefits too. They had some fights over there in Abu Dhabi. And they got their money's worth, that's for sure. You'll see many more Lamborghinis abandoned on the streets now in Abu Dhabi. That's the thing over there. You ever hear about that?
Was not.
Luxury cars over there are the abandoned, left on the street vehicles. Like Lamborghinis, Ferraris, just left on the side of the road. Unbelievable. But there's just so much money over there, you know? What else are you going to do? We talked last week about this Logan Paul versus KSI fight. And, of course, Logan Paul talking about, I might go into the UFC and this, that, and the other thing. So, a lot of fighters pissed off about this. And one of them is Darren Till. He's going to be fighting Tyron Woodley this weekend at UFC 228. And he went on to Twitter and said, every day is hard as fuck. Every day is a little more harder on your physical and mental state. Then you get a cunt coming along like this YouTuber fella thinking he can mix it up in the UFC. Fuck off, will you, mate? And don't embarrass our sport. So, that's how he feels about it. Yeah, pretty much in the same camp there. I don't think anybody in the UFC who's making $10,000 per fight wants to see somebody come in just for one YouTube fight and get stupid money to step into the cage. And that's what would have to happen there. So I don't think that's ever going to happen. Anyway, Jermain Taylor, what can you do with this guy?
More trouble?
More trouble. He was arrested again. And we were just talking about how he was just, was going to get away with something else. Nobody showed up for the court hearing. The witness was AWOL. So now he's in more trouble. And now they're alleging that he punched a woman, held a knife to her throat, and threatened to kill her in Little Rock, Arkansas, where he lives. 40 years old. He was charged with third-degree domestic battery and aggravated assault on a family or household member, and was booked without bond. He doesn't have an attorney.
Wow.
I'd say I'd help him out, but I'm not, I'm not licensed. Earlier this month, prosecutors dropped domestic violence charges against him dating back to last summer when he was accused of biting a woman and threatening her life. So he's got a thing with threatening people's lives. And it also was in the news between August 2014 and May 2015 for a series of incidents which included shooting his cousin in the leg. So, I think he needs to, maybe he needs one of them boot camps. Prison boot camp. Get his act together.
Yeah, really.
So, we don't have a whole lot to talk about from last week. Not really any huge names, big fights, anything like that. But we do have a former guest of ours fighting tonight. It probably already took place over in Russia.
Hank Lundy?
Hank Lundy, 29-6-1 coming in, fighting for the WBC silver lightweight title. And
I watched it on Facebook Live today, around 1 o'clock today.
Oh, so
Competitive fight. Hank lost a very close split decision. Hank used his jab well. The guy was a little bit taller than him. It looked like they were both having trouble getting off combinations. I thought Hank, for a good bit of the stretch of it, outworked him. It was hard because I'm watching it on my phone while at lunch, walking through Walmart with no audio. So, yeah, it was kind of hard. But Hank fell just short of that one. Posted a Facebook message tonight, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. I know he goes, hey, when you go over and you fight overseas like that, you take a risk when it goes a distance. And that's pretty much, the bottom line on it.
Are you saying Russia might have meddled with the scores?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could say that, right?
Uh-oh. Call Robert Mueller. He needs to look into this.
Oh, man. That was a good one.
Those Russians. Those dirty Russians. So, I guess Zaur Abdullayev, that was the opponent there. He's actually ranked 4 out of 34 in his weight class in Russia. But he only has a record of 9-0. He had 6 of those by knockout, but I think it becomes his 10th victory there. And, he's actually the owner of the silver title. And he's only defended it once. He won it back in February of this year against the guy who was 18-1. And then he defended it against the guy who was 20-1. Both in Russia. I don't think he's ever left Russia in his career. No, not once. That's pretty crazy. He went from fighting a guy who was 4-0, knocking him out in September of last year, and then his very next opponent is 27-3. Big step up, Roberto Gonzalez. That's good stuff there. And then, of course, this Saturday we have a ton of boxing going on. And let's start with, let's see. There we go. Australia. I'm going to start down under. Andrew Maloney. Andrew Maloney. He is 17-0, fighting Luis Concepcion, who is 37-6 at super flyweight. This one's going to be on ESPN Plus as well. It's for the WBA Oceania super flyweight title. And we got the Jesus fight of the week on this card too. Tim Tszyu, who is 10-0, fighting Marcos Jesus Cornejo, 19-3. Jesus is his middle name. All right, Croatia. We got some fights. Amir Mansour coming in at 23-2-1, fighting Filip Hrgovic, who is just 5-0 for the vacant WBC International Heavyweight title.
I don't know much about it, the opponent. I know Amir Mansour. I've seen Amir Mansour. I've covered Amir Mansour. Great fight a couple years ago with Steve U.S. Cunningham. He had Cunningham down and all but out in the 5th round, and Cunningham got up and was able to weather the storm and rally late to win the decision. Amir Mansour, he's kind of like the modern-day Ernie Shavers type of a fighter. I mean, you won't see a harder puncher. He's a southpaw. I mean, thunder in both hands. I mean, it's just watching him hit guys is impressive. But he does have a tendency that if he doesn't get you out early, he can run out of gas. Maybe not as dramatically as Ernie Shavers will run out of gas and suck the oxygen out of an arena. But Mansour is a guy like he is either going to blast you out or he is going to gas himself out. But the fight's interesting.
Yeah. It's got a female fight in the co-main event as well. 2 titles on the line there. Emma Kozin, she's 14-0 at super middleweight, fighting Iris Hernandez, 2-1-1. That could be the mismatch there too. Happens a lot in women's boxing because, you know, some ladies have all the fights and some ladies have none.
Right.
That's the way it goes. It's just tough to find opponents a lot too. You haven't fought already once you've gone around the circuit. Anyway, the vacant World Boxing Council Silver Female Super Middleweight title and the vacant WBF World Female Super Middleweight title is on the line now. Then we got, that's a weird name, Ivana Abazin, 18-3, fighting Gifty Amanua Ankara, who is 8-5-1. Gifty. I don't think I've ever heard that name. That was another female fight too. International Boxing Organization World Female Middleweight title on the line in that one. And then we got a cruiserweight fight between Damir Belho, who is 24-0, fighting Lucas Pazkowski, who is 10-2. And then over in Ghana, we got Joseph Agbeko in action. He is 34-5, fighting Ikao Wilson, who's 18-2, for the WBO Africa Bantamweight title.
Wow. Continent's got his own title.
Mm-hmm. This could be the mismatch of the week. We've got Dodzi Keme, who is 21-2 at welterweight, fighting Francis Mensah, who is 4-25-1. Big underdog. Big one. Over in Greece, a lot of weird places for fights. Macedonia has a big boxing card. Middleweights, Mike Kita, 22-4, and Sladan Janjanin, 25-3, will be fighting for the vacant World Boxing Union middleweight title. And just in case that's not enough weirdness, you got the German version of the World Boxing Union middleweight title, whatever that means. And then this is a good one. Female fight in the co-main event. Oh no, is it? Yep. The main event, a co-main event in Macedonia. We have cruiserweight Ferret Kita, who is 10-0, undefeated. I guess I read this wrong. I thought this person's, I don't know if it's a male or a female, the way these names are. I thought it was Faith, but it's Fatih. Fatih Karukus. 0-1 versus 10-0. I guess that could be the mismatch, too. A tie for mismatch of the week. Right. We'll get into the good stuff soon. This one from Ukraine. For the vacant Universal Boxing Organization World Heavyweight title, Alexander Frank coming in at 14-0 with one draw, fighting Zoltan Patranyi, who has 56 wins and 23 losses. Yikes. That's not even the craziest record on the card. There's one guy on this card, Vladimir Borovsky. He's 21-64-2. And what would the show be without some fights in the UK this weekend? And a big name on this card in Birmingham, Amir Khan. 32-4, looked really good in his last comeback fight, and he's fighting Samuel Vargas this time around, who was 29-3-2. Tough opponent, and he really wants to shake it up out there. He's planning to keep fighting for a while. We'll see how he does here. It's a pretty decent test for him, even if it is in his backyard. Vargas is coming from the United States. Also,
I think a guy like Khan fighting, I mean, and especially when you fight a tough character like Vargas, Khan is obviously the superiorly talented fighter in here, and he's definitely the favorite. But when you have a handicap like his chin, any fight can be dangerous.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how he does. Talk's a big game, but we'll see if he can back it up. Middleweights, Jason Wellborn and Tommy Langford in the co-main event. Wellborn has 23 wins to go with 6 losses. Langford is 20-2. And then we got, I don't know if his first initial is F, but we've got Scott Fitzgerald. He is 10-0. Fighting Craig Morris, who is 10-1-1. And these are both super welterweight fights. Another one, Sam Eggington, 23-4, fighting Hassan Mawinko. Mawinko, sorry. It was 11-2. That's a tough one. Anytime you have a last name starting with MW, it's pretty tough. Mua. Well, this doesn't sound right. Out in California, we've got HBO with a card on Saturday from Inglewood. Juan Francisco Estrada in the main event at super flyweight. He is 36-3, fighting Felipe Urquieta, who is 36-4. Almost identical records, but Juan Francisco has won 5 out of his last 6, and so has Urquieta, but Estrada's loss was 6 fights ago, and Urquieta's last loss was last fight. So it's coming fresh off the loss. We'll see how he does here. And another super flyweight fight, Donnie Nietes, who is 41-1-4, fighting Aston Palicte, who is 24-2. That one's for the vacant WBO World Super Flyweight title. And then the WBC Silver Super Flyweight title is on the line between Kazuto Ioka, 22-1, and McWilliams Arroyo, 17-3. And then on top of that, we've got another Super Flyweight fight. Bruno Escalante, 17-3, fighting Alexandru Marin, who is 16-0, and that one's for the vacant IBF Intercontinental Super Flyweight title. Jeez, they could have had all these guys fight each other and do a tournament. Whoever wins in the end gets all the belts. Seems like a tournament format with that many freaking super flyweight fights. So that's in California Saturday. I know that's not the only action going on. Antoine Aikens down in Atlantic City, New Jersey, 13-4-1, fighting DeCarlo Perez, who's 16-6-1 for the vacant USA New Jersey State Super Middleweight title. fighting on that card, but the big one is in Brooklyn, New York.
Yes, it is.
It's going to be on Showtime. It's promoted by a lot of people. Bella, Samson Boxing, TGB Promotions, and of course Premier Boxing Champions and Showtime. All combining to make this card. And there's some pretty good names on this one. Of course, in the main event, Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter. And a lot of people have differing opinions on this one, but the experts were polled, and we put it on our website. And a lot of them say that Danny Garcia needs a knockout to win. They don't think he can win by decision.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
But almost everybody picking Sean Porter to win has him winning by knockout. So I don't know. I like Danny Garcia just for the tactical advantage. And Sean Porter's busier usually, but he also puts his head down and charges in a lot. And if Danny Garcia can pick him apart with uppercuts, which I'm sure he can, then this is going to be interesting. But Porter probably better on the power scale too. So if he connects with something, then Garcia doesn't have a history of knockdowns by any means, but he definitely could get tested in. So this is definitely probably the best fight that Premier Boxing Champions could put together with their talent. Right?
Oh, yeah, it's an evenly matched fight. So, when you look at it, and talking to friends of mine at the gym, and I have two friends that and I'm going to say something funny in a minute. Two guys that I've become friendly with over the last 2 years. One guy is going to turn 50 on Tuesday, and the other guy, I believe, is in his early 50s, maybe 52, 53 years old. Both big-time fight fans. One of them actually did box amateurs back in the mid-'80s, before I did. And last year, going into the first Triple G Canelo fight, these guys both had, spectrum of different opinions. One of them had Canelo using his boxing skills and winning a decision. The other one had Triple G wearing them down and roughing them up and winning, and they both had them going a distance. And talking to them, I ended up introducing them to each other and them to become friends. And they have. So now going into this fight, the one gentleman, he really likes Showtime Sean Porter. He thinks Showtime is going to excel on Showtime. Going to use that herky-jerky style, roughneck. He's going to come in and he is just going to outwork Garcia. And he's going to use just a little bit of quicker twitch fibers and outland, clinch, and win a decision. The other gentleman, it's going to be an ugly fight, especially early, because he says, the way his head is a lot of times his biggest weapon. Because the way he comes in, he goes, he'd be fine if his, glove on top of his head, and he's going to cause some cuts. He thinks the fight, especially early, is just going to be, Porter coming in, causing it to be rough and tumble, ugly, a little bit dirty, but the cleaner punches he thinks will be landed by Garcia, opening up Garcia for a decision win. What I see happening in this fight is I kind of lean a little bit more towards the latter opinion there. Porter is a fighter that he can, and he's gotten better. He can still get a lot of amateurish tendencies. He'll come in there, he'll get really herky-jerky, get really bouncy, and he will lead with his head. I think naturally stronger, you go with Porter. I think naturally a shade quicker, you go with Porter. I think Porter is overall the better athlete. On the other hand, Garcia has better boxing fundamentals. He's not as quick. He's not as strong. Punch for punch, I believe Garcia is a better puncher. Garcia has better think that's, and I believe Garcia has better versatility. So I think, it's going to get some points where it gets rough and tumble. There's going to be some clinching. But Garcia has had better adaptability. And I think that's what's going to be the difference in a closely contested, possibly split decision.
Well, that could be. I'm going with Garcia by unanimous myself.
Okay.
But I could be wrong. I'd like to see him get the knockout. I got nothing to get better. We interviewed him when he was a prospect, pretty much.
Yeah, I remember that. Because he was going for the 2008 Olympics, and he got bumped off in the trials and decided to just turn pro. And,
good to see him.
After he did that, we got him when he was first starting out.
Yeah. So, the other interesting thing is both of them are trained by their fathers, too. So,
yeah.
That's going to be kind of a sibling rivalry almost between the fathers. So we'll see how that goes. And then the winner will obviously be getting a rematch with Keith Thurman, who is just back in the gym after getting his shoulder worked on. So we'll see how that goes, but should be good. In addition to that fight, of course, we have Yordenis Ugas, who is 22-3, fighting Cesar Miguel Barrio Nuevo, who is 34-3-2. It's at welterweight. By the way, the main event is for the vacant WBC welterweight title, world title. Also on the card, we have heavyweights Adam Kaunaki, 17-0, fighting Charles Martin, who's 25-1-1. I haven't seen either of these guys, but obviously they've got great records, so it's kind of surprising they're not fighting for any kind of title here. Considering the Universal Boxing Organization heavyweight titles being fought for this week in Croatia, or wherever it was. We got another former guest of ours on this card, Amanda Serrano, 34-1-1. We last talked to her when she was calling out Ronda Rousey before Rousey lost to Holly Holm. So, a little while back. She's fighting Yamila Reynoso, who's 11-4-3, and she's fighting for, I believe, a record 6th world title, or 6th in a different weight class, I think. It's the vacant WBO World Female Super Lightweight title. So she's been cycling through the weights and beating everybody she can. Good stuff. That's it for boxing this week. We do have some stories coming up that I will get to, but I want to run through UFC 228. We have a big main event there. Darren Till, 17-0-1 versus Tyron Woodley, who is 18-3-1. And I really believe Till got lucky in his last win. And he got some hometown cooking. I definitely thought he got beat up by Stephen Thompson quite a bit. But he got the unanimous decision on his own home turf. Now he's coming to Texas to fight Tyron Woodley. And I really think Woodley's going to get the knockout here. He's been out for a while, but I think he's got a better skill set coming into this fight. Till is tall, lanky, has reach on Woodley, but I think this Woodley just has so many different tools. And Till just, like I said, did not look good in his last fight. And, it was also a matter of styles, too. It's tough to really look good against a guy who's moving the entire time, trying to stay away from everything that he's on. And never really engaging. Woodley's the type of guy that will engage. So, whatever happens, I think somebody's going to go to sleep in this one. Whether it's a submission or a knockout, I definitely don't think this is going the distance. But that's the main event. Nothing too huge in the undercard, but we've got co-main event of Brandon Davis versus Zabit Magomed Sharipov, who is 15-1, Zabit, and then Davis is 9-4. Got a female fight, Jessica Andrade, who is 18-6, fighting Karolina Kowalkiewicz, who is 12-2. Abdul Razak Al Hassan, 9-1, fighting Nico Price, who's 12-1. Another female fight, Carla Esparza, 13-5, fighting Tatiana Suarez, who's 6-0. Aljamain Sterling also on the card, 15-3, fighting Cody Stamann, who is 17-1. And we got one of the fastest hands and bare hands in MMA, John Dodson, 20-9, fighting Jimmy Rivera, who's 21-2. We got Charles Bird, 10-4, fighting Darren Stewart, 8-3. Diego Sanchez back, he's 27-11, fighting Craig White, who's 14-8. And then another White, Alex White, 12-4, fighting Jim Miller, who is 28-12. Another guy's been around a while. Lucy Pudilova also on the card. She's 8-2, fighting Irene Aldana, who's 8-4. Jared Brooks, 13-2, fighting Roberto Sanchez, who's 8-1. And then the first fight of the night is Jeff Neal, 9-2, fighting Frank Camacho. I don't think he's any relation to the boxing Camacho, but Frank is 21-6. 21. Oh, he's related to the Hectors. Hector Senior and Junior. Alright, so there's a big story about speaking of Russians, we talked about earlier, the home-cooked Russian decision there against Hank Lundy. Well, this guy, you might have heard of him, Avtandil Kurtsidze. He was a world champion boxer, 38 years old. He was just convicted in June in New York of racketeering and wire fraud conspiracy. And he supposedly had substantial influence in the criminal underworld as part of a Soviet Union crime gang.
Wow.
He and his associates, known as the Shulea Enterprise, were blamed for crimes across the U.S., including extortion, wire fraud, illegal gambling, and operating a brothel in Brooklyn. So much for the women weak in the legs thing, right?
That's right.
Many of the crew's activities were based in New York, but also operated in other major cities as well as abroad. Officials say most of its members were born in the former Soviet Union with strong ties to Georgia, where the boxer was born. Kurtsidze was caught on film twice carrying out assaults, with prosecutors describing him as a heavyweight enforcer for the group's members and leadership. And he was also convicted or accused of participating in a complex fraud scheme to predict casino slot machines' algorithms, which involved kidnapping a software engineer in Las Vegas in 2014. Whoa, that sounds like a movie right there. Kidnap the engineer. Tell you how to cheat the machines. As long as he goes to station casinos and gets all the money, I don't care. Anyway, on top of his decade in federal jail, he's getting two supervised years on release. Unreal stuff. He actually held the interim WBO middleweight title in 2017, and his last professional fight was against British boxer Tommy Langford in April of 2017, and he won that one. His next bout against Billy Joe Sanders was canceled after he was arrested. And he went down with 30 other people. Of course, his promoter was not very happy about it. Lou DiBella said he let many people down who believed in him, but no one more than himself. Just a waste, and it's all on him for choosing the dark side. And this guy's record is not so bad compared to some of the other opponents from Britain that we've talked about on the show. But he's giving up boxing after just 2 wins in 10 years. And he's not giving up boxing to do something safer. He's giving up boxing to do bare knuckle boxing.
Well, you know.
This is a crazy story. Unreal. I don't know why I've got no print here, but let's get a picture of the guy. Do a survey. Got 2 wins and tears. Rockin' Robin Deacon. I believe we've talked about this guy before. I think he is one of those guys with those outrageous amount of loss. Robin Deacon. So, we'll have to check that out. Hang on 1 second, we'll get to the story. Computer's being slow. Let's go, computer. Alright, let's forget about that story. So we'll just keep our eye out for Rockin' Robin Deacon. I'm sure he'll get some kind of press release on the bare knuckle debut for that guy. But speaking of not going out and talked at the beginning of the show about Bisping knocking out his brother. Well, now there's a story of another MMA fighter in Denver, Colorado, where surveillance footage showed him knocking out somebody inside a bar earlier this week. So it's going viral. Knocking out your fellow bar people here. This one's Melvin Guillard, actually, who fought in the UFC from 2005 to 2014. And he, of course, being the fighter he is, he took the guy out with 1 punch. Around 2 a.m. Monday morning, and they identified the 35-year-old Guillard as the attacker. After the man hit the floor, a woman tried to go after Guillard, but the two were kept apart by patrons. Another patron was seen tending to the unconscious, unidentified victim. It was not clear what caused the scuffle. Now there's a warrant out for Guillard's arrest. He's got a 12-win, 9-loss record, with 1 fight ending in a no contest. 8 of those 12 wins were by knockout, so now he's got 9 knockouts to his credit. Just not the 9th one in the cage. So, I guess he needs a lawyer too. And we've a couple times talked about eye pokes on the show, and how to get really certain styles of MMA fights, or MMA fighters have certain styles where they're using their fingers outstretched for defense to pop punches away, and they end up breaking an eye, or in the case of Daniel Cormier, he really almost threw a punch with his fingers on Stipe Miocic. So there's a whole video of that, all the eye pokes in that fight. But now here's a fight, fighter Cody Stevens. He got involved in a really bad eye poke in a fight card in Cleveland, Ohio, and he might actually lose his eye as a result of it.
Wow.
So he stepped into the cage on August 19th, and of course he never thought that this could be his last fight, but that's probably the reality. It was a doctor stoppage against Aaron Mitchell in round 2, and during a routine exchange, Mitchell's hand found its way to Stevens' face, and his thumb got into his eye, and it kept going right into the socket. So he put out a statement: "If you haven't been following, I ruptured my globe, which is the entirety of the eyeball, on August 19th, which was also my birthday." So that's a horrible birthday present. He says this injury required emergency surgical repair. From the get-go, the outlook has not been promising. Initially, they were going to remove the eye that night, as it had been ruptured so severely and lost a lot of its contents. Yuck. Meaning fluid inside the eye. Miraculously, the surgeons were able to suture it together, thankfully. Sutures that would hold it together. But we knew we would need a few more miracles for the eye to ever function again, even at a very low percentage. So, because the globe is not healing, the eye is continuing to shrink and cause me pain. It is painful to open my left eye even. So we are now discussing removal options. Now that I've had time to process this, I know there are other things I want to do that I cannot do if this eye is not removed. So he's, of course, put a number of pictures up. And it looks pretty bad. He'll be wearing sunglasses for a while. So even without his eye, he would like to continue grappling, even if he doesn't do MMA. And he said he has no regrets. He'd do it all over again. But he's got a 7-1 record, so it wouldn't be too bad of a time to hang it up. His wins over Donnie Walker, Nate Jolly, and he's had fights with Calvin Kattar, I met and talked to a couple times, Wilson Heiss and Jimmy Rivera, as well as taking on Shinya Aoki in ONE FC. Also has a win over Charles Crazy Horse Bennett, and all as part of a 26-fight career spanning a decade. So he's 7-1 as a pro, but 26 fights altogether. Good luck with that, though. You need your eye, so I'm sure that's a tough one to get through. And that's about it for us, I believe. Short show tonight. Doesn't look like we're getting Tom's input. Well, we'll get his psychic predictions next week on time.
Right. We gotta let him give the crystal ball a week off because I want it clear and in focus before the Triple G Canelo rematch.
Right. Well, I bet you didn't predict last week that the Eagles were going to squeak out a win the other night, huh?
Yeah, it was a nail-biter of a game. You know, they ran the Philly special again, and it worked again, and it was kind of cool. Defense held up, but on the positive, I'm glad the man didn't score. But I did have Julio Jones on my fantasy team. He did rack me at 32 points.
Yeah, I made the mistake of doing him on FanDuel, but not as the top player, because you get 1.5 times the points with the top player. And I picked my QBs, both QBs, Matt Ryan and Nick Foles. For some reason, I thought they were going to be the top scorers, and they both had pretty shitty games as far as points.
Yep.
So, yeah, I won't do that again. Should have listened to the suggestions. But I had some good guys. I had Corey Clement, who was doing all right for a little while, but he didn't score either. Ajay was the one that scored.
The only guy that really scored, I thought, was Jay Dye. We had 2 touchdowns for the Eagles.
Right. So I could have picked him too. Probably should have, but oh well. Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes, you know, the one back will do all the work, and then they'll hand it to the other back in the goal line stance. So, you know.
That's what happened to Barry Sanders all the time. That's why he was a terrible fantasy pickup. He rushed for like 2 yards and get no TDs.
Right.
Sucks.
Well, hopefully I win some big money on Sunday, anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's what I told I said if we have another adult prom this year, I said I'm doing my football investment, aka gambling, and if I win enough money, I'm going to get a horse-drawn carriage.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah. Hey, you want to do some fun before I want you to send a Facebook friend request to somebody. If you have, I don't know how much bandwidth you have or how many spaces you have to request people. But I have another a friend of mine, Michael Notariani. He has no clue what he's doing, and I think he's playing just a fuck him. That's my godson's father, and I've grown up with him, and I just harass him terribly. Like, I'm going out to get something. I get a face, and I'm like, what? I'm like, no way. So I message him. I'm like, if you're on a book, and he doesn't respond to me, so I accept this friend request, and then he calls me. He's like, no. I don't know what I'm doing. He's like panicking. He goes, it wants access to my photos. I don't want to share all my photos on there. What if I got something dirty on there? I'm like, dude, you only share things manually. He's like, tell me I should request people. What am I doing? Am I requesting my customers? You know, I don't want to request people and then have the photos shared that are like obscene. I'm like, dude, I'll show you what to do. Relax.
Yeah. Facebook getting more and more popular.
Oh man, it is. You know what? I remember when and like I said, that's how we first really connected was through MySpace. Because Iceman John Scully sent me an article that you wrote, and I recognize your name and all that. And I remember my first MySpace account, and they had some people that you knew, and it's like you were just like requesting people. Like, yeah, you look cool, and that's when you can have like music on your page. And I remember actually somebody I've become friends with now because I'm like it came on and it was like some like classic 80s shit. I'm like, yeah, you got good taste in music, and we became friends. But it's like I remember when I first got my 100th friend on MySpace. I'm like, I have 100 friends now, and oh my god! Now it's like, yeah, I have almost 1,500 on Facebook.
Yeah.
And some of them I've never met. Some of them. Yeah.
Well, it's funny.
It's weird.
I had thousands of friends on MySpace when they had it shut down, but during the science thing, I had to go try to get them all back. I did it like 3 times. Spent all day just clicking add people, adding friends. And I don't even use this MySpace at all. Crazy. An update too I got before we go. Ken Shamrock's people have gotten in touch with me. They're on board. Definitely going to be doing the interview. And I also read this week that Ken has been putting feelers out to the WWE because he wants one last crack at a title. Because he never really got to achieve that when he was there. So he wants a world title. Has not heard back yet, but he has been putting feelers out. And lately he said that he does not want any other MMA fight but that Royce Gracie fight that got kind of mauled by controversy again with the low blow situation that happened. Nobody really noticed until after the fight was over, but not the best situation to have ending your career for either guy. But I don't think they're going to be able to do that fight again because Royce has so many issues with the IRS going on that I think he's going to have a tough time trying to concentrate on anything else for a couple of years until he gets that straightened out. But yeah, so Ken is on board, and we just got to figure out a date sometime later this month. Probably close to your birthday.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Speaking of birthday, next Thursday, I should have no problem being on time. 8:30. I just have a dinner appearance I got to make real quick. Just one Italian organization, and I have a feeling there is going to be talk about this potential fight in November. So that's why I definitely at least want to get my face there and say, yo, is it a go, or what's the deal?
All right. Well, we'll make it happen.
So that'll be probably like just a quick appearance, 7:30 to 8:30. Maybe we stop at my friend Mike's house. Harass the baby. So we can say happy birthday to his favorite, aka only godson.
All right. Well, we'll have to play the happy birthday song for you next week.
Oh, sounds familiar. In fact, it's not confirmed yet, but I heard next week at my office. Well, first of all, today, because I wear Hawaiian shirts every Friday. Some people do it from Memorial Day to Labor Day. I do it from mid-March to mid-September. And today I wore a shirt that I just got. I found it on a site called uglyaloha.com. I ordered the shirt because it was called Shark Tornado. And I thought I needed to buy it, so I just called it Sharknado. Yeah. And I said I came in today wearing my Sharknado shirt, and it's like aqua blue with sharks all over it. I'm like, it's fantastic. And then, somebody, the one girl said to me, like, I was pranking a joke. There's a special place for you in hell. I said, yeah, it's called a throne. Relax. And then I'm saying something else, and I put my crown on, which I bought the other week as a joke. And so it's like, can people really take you seriously? There's sharks on your shirt and you're wearing a crown. And I said, people can't take me seriously. So next week, I warned them. I said, may or may not, somebody may or may not show up in a plush foam birthday cake hat. Nice. So, like, you're going to do said I said it. Didn't say it was me.
Well, sounds like fun.
Yeah, no, there'll be pictures on Facebook. You know me.
Yep. All right. Well, till next week. Thanks for
Till next week.
locking it down with us here. And,
Absolutely, it was a pleasure.
We'll work on trying to get somebody to come on the show with us next week too. Maybe, but I don't think it'll be Ken. Ken will probably take another week.
Okay.
But we'll get somebody. We'll figure it out.
Okay. All right,
bud.
Talk then.
Thanks for stopping by.
Later, man.